Well, good morning, everyone that is watching. Pray for us that our internet works today. Make sure you share it. Make sure you like it. Make sure you tell me hello. I see some of you hiding. Like Heath. Heath, I see you hiding. Miss Donna, Cheryl, Sharon, Hector, Rosa, Miss Dawn. Good morning, all of y'all. Mackie, good to see you. Tony, good to see you. Make sure y'all share it, like it, comment, tag somebody in it. Do whatever you need to do. Ah, Heath, yeah, see? I could see you hiding, creeping in the comments. Trying not to be seen. I saw you anyways. So we got a lot going on this weekend. We got our apartment outreach this Saturday, depending on what the weather does. We will see. If it gets delayed like we did the one before, we will post everywhere. So make sure you're checking social media. We also have James Brown's homegoing service this Saturday. We also have, what all do we have Sunday? We have Miss Norma's service. We have normal service. We have covenant members class, new believers class. Covenant, and just for y'all know, if you're coming to covenant members class, it got moved to the back hall into one of the D group rooms. What else do we have? Mark McCord, yeah, Pastor Mark McCord, all the way from Switzerland, will be here this Sunday. So you are allowed to bring Swiss chocolates to service, and you can partake of them in the hall, not in the auditorium. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll get started. Wait for y'all to hop on. YouTube looks like you're lagging behind today, so all the Facebookers are on top of it. We are going to accomplish what we started last week and got rudely interrupted by the Frontier servicemen that we asked not to work on the internet during live stream, and they decided to work on the internet during the middle of live stream. So they're supposed to come today, this afternoon, and actually repair the main issues. So we should be good. So just pray that we don't get frustrated with them. Bible says you can be angry, but sin not. So you can be, even Peter got greatly annoyed. So, anyways. All right, let's get started. Father, help us concentrate in Jesus' name. Amen. So we're talking about the power of the inner circle, since we didn't get to finish that. And the danger of me having an extra week is I got to prepare some more. And we'll see how far I get, because I want to get into, like I told y'all last week, I kind of want to get into Paul and some of his people that he associated with, but we'll see if we get there this week or if it goes into next week. Good morning, Hal. Glad you figured out how to use your phone this morning. I know that jokes gets old, but for you it still works. All right, so let's start in Luke 6. Luke 6. Luke chapter 6. And if you have questions, you can ask me at any point. Verse 12. One day soon afterward, Jesus went up onto a mountain to pray, and he called to God. He prayed to God all night. At daybreak, he called together all of his disciples and chose 12 of them to be his apostles. Here are their names: Simon, who he named Peter; Andrew, Peter's brother; James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus; Simon, who was called the Zealot; Judas, son of James; and Judas Iscariot, who later betrayed him. So right there we see that there were, and if you go look, it would say like whole cities and whole villages would come out, and flocks and droves and multitudes of people would come out. And Jesus decided, first of all, he went and prayed about it. That's what you have to understand. Like, it is okay. The Bible encourages us, shows us that we should pray about those people that we have close to us. So he had a bunch of people that were close to him, but even out of those that were close to him, he chose 12 more. Good morning, Javi. 12 that were even closer to him. Then we'll see here in a little bit, even inside the 12, he had another group that were even closer. So you kind of have to stagger your relationships, if you will. And I told the two analogies or truth facts, whatever you want to call them, at the beginning of last time, and I'll tell them again, is friends are like elevators. Some take you up, some take you down. You usually want to be around people that take you up. You don't want to be around people that take you down. And then they've proven that generally you make about the same, the average of the 6 closest friends that you have. So that's a powerful illustration of what your inner circle, how they influence you. They influence the way you think, the way you talk, if you're driven or self-motivated, or if you're unmotivated and not driven. They affect all of that. The people you are around the most affect you. And I was kind of thinking about this morning. If you think about when you're younger, when you're more immature, more unstable, if you will, then you talk to your inner circle probably daily, right? But as you mature, as you get more responsible, you can go days, weeks, even months sometimes without talking to your inner circle. But then as soon as you start talking to them, and you like pick up right where you stopped last time, and it's as if you never stopped talking. So that's something to note about inner circles. So let's get into Jesus' actual inner circle. We saw he chose the 12 from the hundreds, and now we'll see he kind of, within those 12, picks a few. Matthew 17, 1 through 8. Those of you that just hopped on, let me know. I see a bunch of you hopping on and not saying hello, so I just want to say hi. That's it. Matthew 17, 6 days later, Jesus took Peter and the 2 brothers James and John and led them up on a high mountain to be alone. So here, good morning, Christine. So you see Jesus, now he had the 12, now he picked 3 within the 12 that he was going to be alone with. As the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed so that his face shone like the sun and his clothes became white as light. We don't need to get into all of it. Let's go to Matthew 26, 36 through 45. We're just trying to show that he had an inner circle within his inner circle. Then Jesus came to them with a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowfully and deeply distressed. So right there, you see again, he chose those 3. Let's go to Luke 5, 1 through 11. This is where I showed you last week where we may get Jesus' reasoning for picking these 3. So it was, as the multitude pressed about him to hear the word of God, that he stood by the lake of Gennesaret and saw 2 boats standing by the lake, but the fishermen had gone from them and were washing their nets. Then he got into one of the boats, which was Simon's, and asked him to put out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the multitudes from the boat. When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." But Simon answered and said to him, "Master, we have toiled all night and caught nothing. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the net." So right there you see Simon's instant obedience to him. He's basically saying, "Hey, Jesus, I may not understand why you're telling me to let down the nets, but because you said it and I trust you, I'm going to do it anyways." And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their net was breaking. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help. And they came and filled both boats so that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." For he and all who were with him were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. So you see right there, like the first thing that Jesus did amongst the disciples was he created provision, and it was with Simon, James, and John. So it's almost like they created like an instant bond, and they trusted him. "Do not be afraid. From now on you will catch men." So when they had brought their boats to land, they forsook all and followed him. Yeah, that's not churches, that's everyone. That's a natural human thing, is to develop cliques. But in a healthy church, there's going to be friendship circles and inner circles and stuff. But, hey, good morning, Kim. But also, in a healthy church, they were welcoming to people. Like, even in our inner circles here in this church, they're very welcoming to new people. Pushes out others who desperately need to kick. Yeah. Also, and I love this, Pastor Ryan gives this illustration all the time. That you have people that come into churches and say they can never get connected, but yet they don't go talk to people. So you can't put all the blame on churches when people come into churches and aren't even willing to talk to people, or when, especially like us, we have D groups, we have life groups, we have all missions groups, we have every kind of group you can think of. And if you can't find a way to get connected, then sorry, that's not on the church, that's on you, because we have 100 different places you can get connected, in outreaches, in different serving areas, in creative arts, in whatever. You got it, or if you name it, we got it. Life groups, yes, life groups, Hector. I know that's a joke with us, but Elder Barbara, good morning. Our life group hasn't been able to meet since Bible school started, because we meet on a Sunday night, and I teach on a Sunday night in Bible school, and half of our life group is Bible school students. So, but hey, students only have 2 weeks left? 2 weeks and their first year's over? Good job, guys. All right, so let's look at this. Luke 8:40 through 56. So it was when Jesus returned that the multitudes welcomed him, for they were all waiting for him. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was ruler of the synagogue, and he fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come to his house. For he had an only daughter about 12 years of age, and she was dying. But as he went, the multitudes thronged him. Now a woman having a flow of blood for 12 years, who had spent all her livelihood on physicians and could not be healed by any, came from behind and touched the border of his garment. And immediately her flow of blood stopped. And Jesus said, "Who touched me?" When all denied it, Peter and those with him said, "Master, the multitudes throng and press you, and you say, 'Who touched me?' But Jesus said, 'Somebody touched me, for I perceived power going out from me.' Now when the woman saw that she had not been hidden, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared to him in the presence of all the people the reason she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said to her, 'Daughter, be of good cheer. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace.' While he was still speaking, someone came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, 'Your daughter is dead. Do not trouble the teacher.' But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, 'Do not be afraid. Only believe, and she will be made well.' When he came into the house, he permitted no one to go in except Peter, James, John, and the father and mother of the girl." So there's kind of two things at play, or multiple things at play here. Jesus picked an inner circle here. And if you look at other instances of the same passage, then it tells us that they had to walk through a multitude of people that were weeping and wailing, and professional mourners. Good morning, Q. And people that were laughing at them. He said, "Do not be afraid, she is only asleep." And it says they laughed and mocked. So you got to remember, too, that if this was Jairus and Jairus' wife, then probably a lot of those people there were their friends and their family, people that would be in their inner circle. And they had to choose that day, am I going to believe with Jesus in his inner circle in faith, or am I going to believe with my inner circle that are wailing and weeping and doubting and fearful? Many times you'll have to change your inner circle in life, depending on what changes you make, depending on what level of maturity you're at spiritually. Because again, like we said, elevators. Do you want your friends to take you up? Yes, there's times where you are the one that brings people up. But you can't always surround yourself with people that you're constantly bringing up. Eventually, that'll bring you down. You've got to balance it out. You should have a group of people that you bring up, and there should be a group of people that you are like-minded, you're at the same level, and you bring each other up together. So right here you see Jesus had his inner circle, the same inner circle we saw multiple times in 3 different instances, where Jesus separated 3 from the 12. I mean, you think about it. Jesus, if you look at all of them, Jesus saw potential in all of them, and most of them went on, and if we studied them out, and if we got into it, which we may next week, you see that they all went on to do something. But at the same time, he also knew Thomas had a problem seeing things in faith. He knew Judas was going to betray him. So they weren't going to be in his inner circle because he knew they couldn't operate at the level he needed them to operate. So there's things about your inner circle. You got to see potential in people. You've got to realize who's leading you and like where you're going. I had a dream the other night, and I don't have dreams that really mean anything. I have like weird dreams that don't really mean anything. Not like creepy weird, not like anything like that. It's just like, I don't know. Anyways. So I'm always asking, all right, Lord, did that mean anything? Or was that just, hello, Eden. Glad you're with Q. Hopefully you're doing people's lashes. She loves to go over there and do people's lashes. So I had this dream, and I don't even remember who all was with me. It was a big group of us from the church. And not that it means anything, but we were in an airport, right? And have you ever been in an airport with a group and you're like, I mean, I don't even know where to, especially if you're international and the signs are in a different language. You're like, I don't know which direction and someone's like, oh, I know which way to go. And so the whole group just starts following that one person, right? So that's kind of what happened in this instance. And then next thing you know, we get on the wrong flight and we end up in an island that we're not even supposed to be on, and there's no way off. That's why it's very careful. You have to be very careful of who's in your inner circle and who's leading. Because one step off or one turn in the wrong direction can get you to a place you were never supposed to be. And it can take the whole group there. So something simple, good morning, Alyssa. So something simple like that, like really hit me whenever I'm sitting here like studying and thinking about the power of the inner circle. And you think about how many times just in simple things, say you're at the zoo, say you're at a museum, whatever it is, you're with a group of friends and one's like, oh, I know where we're going, follow me. And then you end up going to the wrong place. How many of us have been in a situation like that? Probably most of us, right? But then if you take that over to the spiritual realm, what is the danger of being led by someone that makes a wrong turn? That takes a path off of the will of God. Spiritually, that can be very dangerous. Not as dangerous as missing a flight or something. A lot more dangerous than missing a flight or ending up in the wrong spot in the natural. Spiritually, that can wreck your whole life. So that's why you have to be very careful of who's in your inner circle, who's leading the inner circle, and all of that kind of stuff. The other thing you have to be careful about, if the leader causes more confusion than they do clarity, then there needs to be a change. I've worked with multiple different groups throughout the years, and some groups you're just like, eesh, this isn't going to go well. And you just kind of have to step out and step in another direction, or you have to pray that the Lord changes the person's heart or changes the person. So there's things like that as well. So we're not just talking about inner circle for our friends. We're talking about leadership circles, all of that. So let's go to 1 Kings 12 to show you a negative aspect of inner circle. Did all that make sense? Hopefully. Again, if you have any questions about it, throw them in the comments or type them. You can't really throw them in the comments. Anyways. 1 Kings 12. Rehoboam, how do you say his name? Rehoboam went to Shechem where all Israel had gathered to make him king. When Jehoram, son of Nebat, heard of this, he returned from Egypt, for he had fled to Egypt to escape from King Solomon. The leaders of Israel summoned him, and Jehoram and the whole assembly of Israel went to speak with Rehoboam. Your father was a hard master, they said. Lighten the harsh labor demands and heavy taxes that your father imposed on us. Then we will be your loyal subjects. Rehoboam replied, give me 3 days to think this over, then come back for my answer. So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam discussed the matter with the older men who had counseled his father Solomon. What was Solomon known as? The wisest man to ever live, correct? So the people that counseled him were probably pretty wise. Good morning, Didi. Right? Just if we're thinking common sense wise. So King Rehoboam discussed the matter with the older men who had counseled his father Solomon. What is your advice? He asked. How should I answer these people? The older counselors replied, if you are willing to be a servant to these people today and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your loyal subjects. But Rehoboam rejected the advice of the older men and instead asked the opinion of the young men who had grown up with him and were now his advisors. What is your advice? He asked them. How should I answer these people who want me to lighten the burdens imposed by my father? The young men replied, this is what you should tell these complainers who want you to want a lighter burden. My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Yes, my father laid heavy burdens on you, but now I'm going to make them even heavier. My father beat you with whips. I will beat you with scorpions. I don't know how that's possible, but 3 days later, Jehoram and all the people returned to hear Rehoboam's decision, just as the king had ordered. But Rehoboam spoke harshly to the people, for he had rejected the advice of the older counselors and followed the counsel of his younger advisors. He told the people, my father laid heavy burdens on you, but I'm going to make them even heavier. My father beat you with whips, but I will beat you with scorpions. So the king paid no attention to the people. This turn of events was the will of the Lord, for it fulfilled the Lord's message to Jeroboam, son of Nebat, through prophet Ahijah from Shiloh. When all Israel realized that the king had refused to listen to them, they responded, down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Back to your homes, O Israel. Look out for your own house, O David. So the people of Israel returned home, but Rehoboam continued to rule over the Israelites who lived in the towns of Judah. King Rehoboam sent Adrian, who was in charge of the forced labor, to restore order, but the people of Israel stoned him to death. When this news reached King Rehoboam, I feel like, what movie was that? When Steve Carell was it Evan Almighty? Evan Almighty, where, anyway. When the people of Israel learned of Jeroboam's return of Egypt, they called an assembly and made him king over all Israel. So only the tribe of Judah remained loyal to the family of David. So it got them into, because he listened to the younger ones, it got them into a war. If you go on and read, if you keep reading, it got them into a war. Then they made gold calves. So let's go over to 2 Chronicles 10, and we'll see this guy do the same thing again. So it's really just a recount of the same thing. And he literally says the exact same thing. So the fact that it's, good morning, Emma. Hope you're feeling better. Hope you're doing great. The fact that the Lord put it in there twice, the same story, might mean it's important that we get something out of it. And right there, you see the difference between listening to wise advisors and listening to foolish advisors. So that's in 1 Kings 12 and 2 Chronicles 10. And that's what it says. Like I was studying out. It says in 1 Kings 12 and 2 Chronicles 10, we learn about King Rehoboam's decision to reject the wise counsel of older advisors in favor of his younger, more aggressive ones. The result was the splitting of the Israelite kingdom, with 10 tribes creating the northern kingdom of Israel and 2 tribes forming the southern kingdom of Judah. So it just shows you surrounding yourself with the right people is extremely important. And it can have, surrounding yourself with the wrong people can have extreme consequences. Right here, it split a nation. And what you also see is those are the people, the younger ones, are the people that he grew up with. that gave him foolish advice. Sometimes the ones you're comfortable with are not always the ones that give you the right advice. I'll say that again. Sometimes the people you're most comfortable with aren't the ones that give you good advice. Sometimes those are the most dangerous ones because they'll take your feelings into play, right? They'll take your emotions into play. And we'll get into that in just a second. So let's look at a positive side. Luke 5, verse 17. And then I want to get into some characteristics that we should look for when we're thinking about our inner circle. Luke 5:17. One day while Jesus was teaching, some Pharisees and teachers of religious law were sitting nearby. It seemed that these men showed up from every village in all Galilee and Judea, as well as from Jerusalem. And the Lord's healing power was strongly with Jesus. Some men carrying a paralyzed man on a sleeping mat came carrying a man on a sleeping mat. They tried to take him inside to Jesus, but they couldn't reach him because of the crowd. So they went up to the roof and took off some tiles. Then they lowered the sick man on his mat down into the crowd, right in front of Jesus. Seeing their faith, Jesus said to the man, "Young man, your sins are forgiven." So right there, those are the kind of friends we need to surround ourselves with. Those are the kind of people we need to have in our inner circle that are willing to step out in faith on our behalf, to link up with our faith and to see God answer. How many of you have friends that would lower you through a roof? That's what you need to ask yourself. You need to start asking your friends, like when you take applications. Do y'all take applications for friends? Like, or is that just me? So on the application, I have a section that says, would you lower me through a roof? Would you spit on my eyes? And I have to see what they say before they're allowed to be my friend. Y'all don't do that? No? Okay. Does anyone else in the comments do that? I guess not. Nope, just me. All right, so let's go into Proverbs and dig a little bit. Let's look at some verses that we should look at when we think about people that we want around us. Miss Dawn, I'm guessing with that crying face, you do it a little bit, maybe not as in depth, but you do have an application for your friends. Proverbs 17, verse 17. A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need. So let's see what the Amplified says. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times. That's the New King James. That's what the Amplified says as well. A friend loves at all times and is born as is a brother for adversity. So are the people that you're surrounding yourself, are they loving you at all times? And loving doesn't mean just giving you what you want. Loving and enabling are different. Do they have your back? Are they loyal to you? Are they there with you through adversity? You can always tell your real friends if they disappear when you're going through hard times. If they disappear when you're going through hard times, they are not your real friend. Like, then you have some friends that just pop up during your hard times just to check on you, and then they realize you're going through something, and they stick with you through the hard time. That's a real friend. Proverbs 18:24. Let's read it in... We're going to read it in a bunch of translations. The New King James. A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. The Amplified says, and this is where I want to get. Let me read the New Living first, and then we're going to pull something out of the Amplified, and we're going to put it all together. The New Living says, there are friends, in quotation marks, who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother. So whenever it's in quotation marks and it says friends, to me that means fake, right? So then the Amplified Classic says it this way. The man of many friends, a friend of all the world, will prove himself a bad friend. But there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. So what this says to me, how many of us know somebody? You can do it by a show of emoji hands, but if it's you, anyways. This is what the word says. So I know some people aren't going to like what I'm about to say and put this together, but this is exactly what the word says. How many of us know someone that they strive to be friends with everyone? Like they just have to be friends with everyone. They try hard to be the mediator between everything, and they just want to be everyone's friend. Right there, that says, the man of many friends, a friend of all the world, will prove himself a bad friend. Someone that's doing that, do y'all know someone like they're friends with everyone on Facebook and social media? They're friends, they follow every ministry. They comment on every ministry's page. They're doing that out of an insecurity of their own, rather than being secure enough to have a tight friend group and be secure in that tight friend group. They feel like if I'm friends with everyone, that means that everyone likes me. Right there, the Bible is very clear. The man of many friends, a friend of all the world, will prove himself a bad friend. But there is a friend, but it's encouraging you too, but there is a friend that will stick closer than a brother. Just a little food for thought there. If some of your friends are people that feel like they have to be friends with everyone, you might want to watch out. You might want to make some new friends. Because right there in the in the New Living, it says, there are friends, and what do we see if we pair it with what we saw in the Amplified? Friends of all the world, friends that are friends with everyone. And pair it back in with the New Living, who destroy each other. So eventually that person's going to do something to harm you, to take you out. So beware. Good morning, Miss Amy. Glad you woke up to join us. Proverbs 20, verse 6. The Amplified says it this way. Many a man proclaims his own loyalty and goodness, but who can find a faithful and trustworthy man? Ladies, that's not talking about a man. That's talking about a friend. Who can find a faithful and trustworthy friend? So when you're looking for friends, when you're looking at who should be in my inner circle, who should I have in my inner circle group, in my dependable group? No, exactly. Yes, as Christians, we should definitely be loving and kind to everyone. But we should have a small group of close friends. Many a man proclaims his own loyalty and goodness, but who can find a faithful and trustworthy man? Is everyone in your inner circle trustworthy? If you ask them to help you and not share it to the public, then will they do that? Proverbs 27, verse 6. Proverbs 27, verse 6. And this kind of goes back to the other ones we've been reading. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. And I'm going to read out of the Amplified because it goes on to say what that means. Faithful are the wounds of a friend who corrects out of love and concern. Have you ever been corrected? Because there's multiple ways of correction. There are people that correct you and try to help you out of love and concern for you. Then there's people that correct you just because they want to be in control or they just want to be over you. There's a difference. And you can tell when people are correcting you out of love and concern. And you can tell the difference when people are just wanting to be harsh and wanting to be rude. It says, Faithful are the wounds of a friend who corrects out of love and concern, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful because they serve his hidden agenda. So there may be people that suck up to you all the time, that are always nice, but they have a hidden agenda behind it. But then there's those friends that your other friends may not like this friend because this friend always says what's right, what's true, and it may not be sugar-coated all the time. But they're doing that out of genuine concern and care and love for you. Or maybe you're that person. I would encourage us all to be that person. Do it with your own personality, but be that friend that's going to tell your friends, hey, like, that doesn't line up with the word. Hey, this is what the word says. You just get back online. Doesn't mean you have to be rude. Doesn't mean you have to be a jerk about it. You can be corrective and in love. Proverbs 27, verse 9. And I want to see what the other translations say about this. We can actually read a bunch of Proverbs 27. Let's start in verse 5. Open rebuke is better than love that is hidden. Again, that goes back to what we were just saying. If you have a good friend that'll rebuke you out of love, it's better than love that is hidden. 6, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are lavish and deceitful. Verse 9, oil and perfume rejoice the heart, so does the sweetness of a friend's counsel that comes from the heart. So see right there, that's what I'm talking about. A friend can counsel you and still be kind. And even whenever they're correcting you, it can still bring like a refreshing. I don't know if y'all have ever had that, but like the friend that can correct you or direct you and it still not feel like it hurts, like it feel like, that's what I'm talking about. You can feel a difference between someone that's correcting you out of love and you even feel, even though you just got corrected, you feel refreshed out of it. Whoa. Verse 10. Your own friend and your father's friend forsake them not, neither go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor who is near in spirit than a brother who is far off in heart. What does that say? Keep people close that are like-minded in spiritual things. Uh-oh. Keep yourself close with people that are like-minded in spiritual things. It's going to be hard to go somewhere if you're surrounding yourself with people that aren't going the same direction. So the New Living of that says, the heartfelt counsel of a friend is as sweet as perfume and innocence. Proverbs 27:17. We all know it. We all should know it. Let's read it out of the New Living first. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. The Amplified says it this way. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens and influences one another through discussion. Through discussion. Are your people in your inner circle sharpening you with the things they talk about? Or are they always joking and talking about the old man, things you did pre-Christ? That's not sharpening you. That's actually taking you backwards. Are your inner circle bringing you up? Are they sharpening you? What does a sharp sword do? It makes it more efficient, more effective. So are your friends making you more efficient and more effective? If they make you lazy, are they a good friend? But if they When you say your dreams and your visions, do they encourage you? Do they do whatever it takes to help you obtain those dreams and those visions? Do they, if you're, say if you feel called to start a business or start doing Bible school or going into ministry, are they the ones laughing at you and saying you'll never do it? Or are they the ones saying, hey, what can I do to help you? What do we need to look at? What do we need to go get? What books do we need to read together? Like, are they encouraging you and helping you and sacrificing with you to get you there? Those are the people you want in your inner circle. People you can trust. Pastor Theophilus, good to see you, even though you're hiding. Those are the people you can trust. Who is going to be loyal with you when times get tough? Because you'll notice a lot of people start bailing when times get tough. They don't want to be associated with that, or they don't have the time for it, or they're not patient enough, or whatever it may be. But a lot of people will show their character when times get tough. They'll show if they're good friends or not. So we'll stop right there, and then next week we'll get into some of the disciples, and we'll get into some of Paul's friends and inner circles. Because Paul's an interesting one. He traveled all over the world at that time and had some people that he trusted, had some people he didn't trust. So we'll go on from there. Any questions on inner circle, friendships, any of that stuff? I know a lot of people hopped on in the middle. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. But if you have any questions about picking your inner circle, about friendships, any of that kind of stuff. Why? Keep going. We still have 15 minutes. Hector. Some things take longer than 15 minutes to get into. Plus, y'all know I like when y'all ask questions. And so I always like to leave room for questions. And plus, these are the notes we went through. And I don't know if you can see that. That's the notes that would be next time. So we went through 3 pages, and the rest is like 15 pages. So that's why, Hector. Don't have people in your inner circle that are always questioning you. That's an added bonus one. Good grief. Any question? If you want me to keep going, ask questions. Can you get a new application for friendship? I'll keep going as long as y'all ask questions. So it's on you. I know there's tons of questions because this is one of those ones that people ask me privately about stuff, but just generalize it. You don't have to say someone's name. As the 2 friends in the studio like stare each other down, like, I don't want to ask a question about her while she's right here. Go on, Hector. Ask a question. How much money should we charge for friendship applications? I mean, that's a great question, actually. I mean, I guess it depends on how you value your own level of friendship towards other people. If you value your friendship highly, then I think you should charge quite a bit. But if you're just like, if you're a beginner on the friendship ladder, then probably not very much at all. You should probably be free. I don't know, maybe you offer coupons, discounts, I don't know. Maybe like Fridays are half off. I don't. Do you have to renew your application each year? I think it's dependent upon the person and their actions that year. Like Pastor Theophilus' renewals coming up. But he doesn't have to pay. He just has to come see me in the States. What is your friendship worth? Will they come see you overseas? Will they travel the nations to see you? That's the question you have to ask. How do you make friends like outside of church? First of all, you get them saved. Then you invite them to church. Then you disciple them. Then you can be their friend. No, I mean, I think there's levels of friendships, right? Like you have some, like this is what we're talking about. Jesus had his many disciples, then he had his 12, then he had his 3. So you can have friends outside of church. But it depends on where they are spiritually. How influential you want them to be in your deeper discussions and decision making. You can make friends at work. You can make friends at school. You can make friends. There's all kinds of ways to make friends. But my lasting friendships have all come through ministry or church of some kind. Like even people I went to Bible school with, which was, how many years ago now was that? 2007? 2007, yeah. 2007? Yeah. So that would be what? I'm looking at y'all. Y'all have calculators in front of you. Is it 21 years? No. 17 years. 17 years. So a lot of them that I was close to, and then like I said, just between graduating and us all going into ministry or business in different directions, a lot of those friendships have just now in the last 2 years swung back around and become very influential in my life. How many years have I known Pastor Theophilus? That would have been what? Let's say that would have been what? 12 years? Or sorry, that would have been 2012. So that would have been 12 years, I think. When did you come to Bible school in South Africa? Was it 2012? I mean, there's certain people you just make, like, he came in as a Bible school student. I started training him as an armor bearer and usher and things for the outreach department, and there's certain connection. Then he started teaching, 12 years. Then he started teaching in our mission school there, and there's certain people like that you just develop a friendship and it lasts forever. And then that's what's kind of cool about it too, is your friendships won't always come from the places you would think. Sometimes it'll be people you train up and then they just become your lifelong friend. It's just kind of how it is. People that are like-minded. How much did he charge you for your friendship? How much did I charge him? We can't disclose that online. So any serious questions? Y'all play too much. I'm trying to be serious. The other reason I end early, Hector, is the clock, the giant clock that blinks at us and yells at us in the studio is 10 minutes fast. So that's the other reason I finish early. Any serious questions before we head out for the day? No? Wow. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great, wonderful, beautiful day. Get all your errands done before about 4 o'clock, because I think that's when the 2 weeks of rain is about to start. I think literally, let's just pull it up. And give people a chance. Come on, weather app. There we go. So let's see. Today 61%, Saturday 94%, Sunday 45%, the next Wednesday 35%, Thursday 41%, Friday 58%, Saturday 58%, Sunday 53%, Monday 58%, Tuesday 49%, Wednesday 38%, Thursday 53%. So all the way into May, pretty much gonna rain. So enjoy today. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.